What's poppin', gamers? Mogul Khan the Axe is an Oglodi, and he's known for being big and strong, but kind of an idiot. The Oglodis are a kind of people in the Dotaverse distinguishable by their size, red skin, and orcish behavior. He spends his time searching for adventure and challenge alongside his bard Goodkind. She writes best-selling novels about their endeavors, as we can see in the comic The Last Castle. But before we talk about his current activities, how did Axe become Axe? From his Dota 2 bio, we learn that long ago, when Axe was a little grunt, he joined the Red Mist army. He has always been obsessed with achievement and recognition, so he had set his goal to become the general of the army, or as the Oglodi call it, the Khan. After the demon-worshipping Tarnsmen had destroyed the Oglodi capital, the Red Mist Horde had been formed in order to get revenge. They, including Axe, went on the 7-year campaign of the Thousand Tarns, where Axe had proven himself exceptional at battle. But he did not only limit himself to killing Tarnsmen. He also didn't hesitate to slay anyone higher ranking than him in the Red Mist, in order to faster rank up closer to the Khan title. As a result of the Tarnsmen's defense and Axe's offense, by the end of the campaign, there was only one member left, Mogul. Now crowned Mogul Khan the Axe, the Red Mist Horde general, the one-man army. Though, with the Tarnsmen defeated and no one else in the Red Mist, Axe probably got bored, so he set out on an adventure, looking for new challenges and stories to tell. If you want to know more about the other Oglodis and the continuation of the story about the Red Mist after Axe left it, I have a video that covers everything about the Oglodi, which should pop up in the right corner. Axe and Disruptor seem to be on very good terms, beyond just the tie of them both being Oglodis, though they do make fun of each other's size and intelligence respectively. Warlock, however, Axe seems to really disrespect. He also seems to be friendly with Bristleback and have rivalry with other axe wielders like Troll Warlord and Centaur Warrunner. He is very adamant about chopping wood when near Treant, and talks a lot of shit to the Keen like Sniper and Alchemist. Winter Wyvern seems to be fond of Axe, which explains why, as I will get back to, she wants to kill Goodkind and Artifact. Oracle has this to say.
Fear death along the edge that is both axe and man.
Which I interpret as basically Axe's axe is hecking deadly, and so is Axe as in Axe himself. But it's very different depending on who Oracle is warning. Is he warning the ones who meet Axe, or Axe himself? The Last Castle is a comic about Axe and Goodkind, where they are infiltrating the fortress of Valhesi in order to obtain the 7-jeweled crown. It shows us how capable Axe is in battle, how he fortunately uses his bloodlust for good heroic causes, and the relationship between him and Goodkind. They are a very cute duo, since you have the big brawny Axe, whose lack of intelligence makes him refer to himself in third person, and then the small but eloquent best-selling author Goodkind. The comic shows that Axe is not evil at all. He is just so stupid that he may appear like it. His adventures in general take down bad people, and he shows concern and fondness for his friend Goodkind. This is despite the fact that he hates Keenfolk for being small and intelligent. Goodkind is not a Keen, but she is like them, small and intelligent. Their partnership continues in Artifact, where the basics of Axe's story is that he and Goodkind are looking for action after sales have gone down. Other than that, we don't know much about how his story will progress. What we do know though is that he has been training Goodkind to fight, he has been healed by the leader of the Remescue faith, he has been fighting Outworld Devourer and Kana, who we know are both on the dire side, he has also been fighting Bloodseeker and Invoker, and he has been fighting alongside Bloodseeker and Tinker. Whether these are all different timelines or they all happened is unknown, and I don't think we will know until Artifact 2.0 comes out. Axe giving Goodkind's combat training though, maybe because Winter Wyvern is trying to kill her. Winter Wyvern is also a writer, and her strategy when competing with other authors is to just eat them.
Writer's block. It's an awful condition that can ensnare even the most prolific of authors. Once the words used to flow freely from my lips to my scribe Thrail's ears. But lately, I've been distracted by the pulp drivel Goodkind unleashes into the world. I had no idea that the adventures of a monosyllabic red thug could capture so many readers. Yet, if I am to be honest, my own works feel boring in comparison. It's vexing. Oh well, I guess it's time to find Goodkind and eat her.
It is unknown if Winter Wyvern wants to end Goodkind and then go back to write her own books, or if she actually wants to replace Goodkind as Axe's bard. The former is most likely the case, but the latter is also probable since Winter Wyvern is fond of Axe in both Dota 2 and Artifact voice lines.
Dear Axe, you and I go together like cold and steel.
It would appear that Goodkind didn't embellish as much as I thought.
What Axe is doing with Lady Ashnu, I have no clue, but since she is tending to him, it must mean he is opposed to the undead. Something else we discover in Artifact is that Axe has this to say about his past in the Red Mist.
Axe doesn't look back on his time in the Red Mist with particular fondness, but he acknowledges that he learned a lot about violence.
Meaning that maybe he regrets what he did. In Underlords, he is simply in the fight because he has been promised good stories. So it seems like after all the Red Mist business and whatever is happening between him, Kana, Sorla, Winter Wyvern and Bloodseeker, at the end of the day, he is always first and foremost an adventurer. That is, until one day he bumped his head. Recently, Axe got yet another immortal called Axe Unleashed. Immortals are great because they always give some new lore, but this time Valve gave us an extra treat with new voice lines added. During TI9, the Battle Pass gave you both access to Axe Unleashed and a new jungle terrain, the Overgrown Empire. The Empire is located within the jungle called Felstrath, and it's very likely that it was this exact jungle that Axe and Goodkind were visiting when Axe got unleashed. Let's hear Axe's recollection of what happened when he lost his axe.
Just when Axe was ready to kill the wounded Grifthawk, it jumped into the river. The tiny scribe said it didn't matter.
By scribe, he means Goodkind.
But it mattered to Axe. So Axe went into the river, but swimming was too hard. The fight was unfair with Axe's axe, so Axe had to drop it. After Axe choked the beast, it made a good raft. That was nice, because Axe needed a nap. Axe woke up when the Grifthawk raft went over a waterfall. Then Axe hit his head on a rock and got sleepy again. Now Axe is alone with no axe. The only law here is jungle law, and Axe's fists are enforcers.
So Axe is alone, naked and axeless, running around in the jungle, having left Goodkind behind, defenseless. It's unknown what happens after this, like, does Axe ever get his axe back? Is Goodkind okay, and will they reunite? Is this just one particular timeline, or is it actual progression in his general story? In Dota 1, he was the leader of the half-tribe, the Bloodied Axe clan. This was after the war between humans and orcs had made some orcish warriors corrupted by demonic influence. Mogul Khan was killed by humans, but he had since been revived by demons so he could keep fighting. Now, there's one Aglodi that is very significant and referred to a lot surrounding Axe both in Dota 2 and Artifact voice lines that I haven't touched yet. Sorla Khan. And that is because I wanted to save it for last, because there is a rumor we need to address. When Sorla Khan's name was initially public, some people suspected it was her last name, and that maybe that meant she is Axe's wife. But when it was revealed that Khan is just the title of the Red Mist General, people abandoned the theory. And it remained completely abandoned until Artifact was released and people read Time of Triumph.
I've written a lot of books about Axe, the most popular of which is easily the Roshan Expedition. Personally, I think Red Mist, Red Passion is better, but people heard erotic thriller and never gave it a chance.
So Goodkind has made a novel that has two key things: eroticism and the Red Mist. Unless Axe is gay, which statistically is unlikely and he has given no reason to believe it, it's not unreasonable to assume that whoever he was romantic with must have been a female. We have yet to see any other female Aglodi that Axe knows, and that happens to be in the Red Mist. But if they were lovers in the past, wouldn't either of them talk about it when they meet in Artifact? Well, that's what's so interesting. From Dota 2, we know that Sorla is pissed at Axe. From Axe's voice lines in Artifact, we know that he knew her in the past.
So, you're a Khan now, Sorla. Impressive. The Red Mist should have stayed dead. You're smarter than Axe, but you'll never be stronger. If you were as smart as people say you are, you would have never challenged Axe.
So immediately, most people, including myself, would assume Sorla is pissed at Axe for killing his own Red Mist members in the past. But what if the reason why they are not awkward, shy, or affectionate towards each other is because the breakup was a bad one and Sorla's left very hurt and bitter? Okay, but her being very pissed at Axe is actually just from voice lines in Dota. In Artifact, she's actually only hostile to him if he's on the enemy side. When he's on her side, she's very forgiving. Almost too forgiving.
Welcome home, Mogul. With my mind and your brawn, no one will stop us.
She does speak of him betraying the Red Mist, but is dueling your superiors to rise in rank really betrayal? I mean, don't get me wrong, I agree with Sorla that it's a very shitty thing to do, but I wouldn't call it betrayal.
You betrayed the Red Mist, Axe, and now you'll answer for it.
What if Axe left her to go on his adventures with another woman, Goodkind, and she took that very personally to the point of calling his original rise to Khan betrayal, when in fact he betrayed her love? Don't worry, I don't think Goodkind is taking that BRC. I think they're just friends. But just imagine if you were Sorla. She is very traditional and favors the old Aglodi ways, and probably, as a traditional Aglodi, has a disdain for small, weak people. And with the paranoia of jealousy, maybe to her it seems like Axe ran off with another woman. And a weak little nerd on top of that. Axe ruined the Red Mist and left her hanging, broken-hearted, to deal with the aftermath. There is one small detail that ruins this theory though. Well, to be fair, this theory is very far-fetched in general, but since the novel is called Red Mist, Red Passion, that would mean Axe and Sorla met in the Red Mist, while Axe was part of it and it was still numerous. It would have to be the Red Mist army that went on the 7-year campaign versus the Tarnsmen, as that is the only Red Mist horde Axe was ever a part of. But Axe was the only survival left in the end, so that would mean Sorla had to die. So, I don't know. Okay, one last thing. Juggernaut says in his Arcana voice pack,
Axe, when this battle is over, we must discuss what to do about Sorla Khan.
Like as if it's somehow Axe's responsibility. Why would Jug talk to Axe specifically? It must be because he has some sort of special relation to her, like a fire between them, and maybe through the power of love, could Axe persuade Sorla to stop it with her endless violence? So actually, Axe is a hacking stud who can freely choose between a cute elf nerd girl, a powerful Aglodi queen, a pious healing trad wife, or even a dragon if he's into that freaky stuff. Axe is basically the protagonist of a harem isekai anime, and he definitely has a certain type that is attracted to him, since they all share that they have charismatic influence. Axe can barely speak and think, while they all have big brains. The moral of the story of Axe is that in order to attract femoids, especially smart ones, you should change your name to an object you like, refer to yourself in third person, be unnecessarily violent, and walk around bare-chested talking shit to nerdy-ass manlet. How typical. Okay, just to clarify, just in case it isn't clear, most likely Axe is not romantically involved with either of the four, and neither of them have crushes on each other. This was just for fun. Thank you so much for watching, gamers! Hope you have a wonderful day! Your feedback is always appreciated.